won't give up till I'm on top.
Yo, no, I ain't the type to give up. If I do something, man, I do it till I get what I want. I turn a business out of nothing into something I love. I got a poker face, but honestly, I'm not one to bluff. I flip a switch, never miss, man, I always stay up. Don't let them see you, bitch, always have a plan to stay tough. This life ahead of you ain't easy, it was built to be rough. But that's what makes a personality, is tragedy, bruh. So keep your head on your shoulders. Now we ain't out here moving rocks, we out here moving boulders. Now we ain't getting posterized, we out here making posters. And we ain't got nothing to hide, we move forward like soldiers.
What up, what up, what up, and welcome into Pregaming here on the Sports Money Network. It's your boy, Mikey Money, here to bring you guys through the latest and greatest opportunities to get those winning tickets. We have ourselves some opportunities in college basketball. We have some opportunities in the NHL. We have some opportunities in the NBA. And for the last time in this football season, we'll have some college football action as well. Fired up for the game tonight. We will be live streaming, as you guys know. We are the best at the business when it comes to live betting and giving you guys latest and greatest betting advice, where we're seeing the game, how we're attacking it live, and then anything else that we see that perks up along the way with the panel of guests that we have out there. So get ready and get set. Still waiting for Slugworth to show up in the chat so I can fire him up, but we'll see if he shows up here this evening or not. Listen, we're going to kick this thing right off the gate here, you guys. I took Providence plus 2.5. This game starts right now. So you want to get in there. It's a Big East factor is what it comes down to. When you're playing, just think about it. It's in its essence. It's in its simplistic form. Road teams against bad, unranked defenses find a way to get it done. And they get it done 58-29. So it's a true 2-to-1 advantage. 66% of the time this has been coming to fruition. And it's just essential. We're getting 2.5 points. We're getting 2.5 points for a Providence team, by the way. And accidental. It was not deliberate. It's coincidental that I happen to be wearing the Providence hoodie while I'm betting the Providence Friars here. Yeah, neither team has really done too much when it comes to conference performance thus far, but I had the benefit or privilege of watching a few Marquette games here recently, and just not really enamored by anything that team's doing at this point. I was just kind of looking up and down. Let me see where did it go? Bear with me. Again, it just started, so plenty of time to get this game in. 6 p.m. was the scheduled tip-off. A lot of early games today in honor of one Martin Luther King Day. Where figures. Doesn't it figure? It figures. I was trying to talk to it and I was like, it'll be all right. It's going to start right off the gate. I got my note. I don't need my notes. I'll just pull it up. And now of course I can't get it. So let's see. There it is. 86% of the bets, 85% of the cash came in on the Marquette side of things. Hasn't moved. I mean, I guess they're up 2-0. Big lead for them boys to kick this thing off here. But I mentioned kind of those previous two games and that I was kind of scoping out there. And they lost by 5 points to DePaul. I mean, back-to-back road games. So there's nothing. DePaul, we know, has restacked the deck. Brought in new coaching brought a lot of their players over, and they're working on changing up the whole dynamic and the depth of the DePaul organization. So early litmus test, it's working. You know, they're taking down some of the Big East favorites out there. They lost at St. John's. All right. I mean, it's not so much that they were supposed to get blown out. They did. But even in the expected blowout, it wasn't close. They were getting 15.5 points and they got busted up by almost 30. So it's like, again, I don't know if I'm just picking on these being two road teams. It kind of seems to me like the marquee opportunity for these guys. They played at UConn. Okay, that was to start the year. That was January 4th. They're kind of coming in positionally off the holiday, maybe feeling good. They're about to start, conference play. They get thumped. Now they cover, but they get thumped. They get busted up by literally 16 points in that game at UConn. Probably kind of the wave the flag moment. They go out there, they take down Xavier at home. And then they just can't figure out a way to get out of their own way at this point here. Dogs in all three spots. And now all of a sudden you're making them a small favorite with this Providence team that just came off a big win against Creighton. I was on Providence. They got there for us. Kind of mutual opponents. Yeah, some losses down the line. The thing that caught my eye, though, with this Providence team is look at that Connecticut game, that UConn game. So, yeah, listen, spoiler alert, UConn fucking won that game too. But it was 103-98. So this offense can very well get in position and start cooking. And I think that's what we see here tonight against a suspect. I just think that defensive disparity between these two teams is enough for us to get it done. So that's the way we're going to kick it off. But that one just started, so that's a little treat to start the show off. Appreciate you guys coming in here. I see Blake M. I see Stop Geo. I see EJ Smizzy in the house as well. Appreciate all you guys doing it with us here on a regular at Sports Money. We're going to get after it here this evening. You guys know there's going to be a live show. Going to be live at about 7 p.m. So we're going to peel out of here early. I'm going to rifle down the card I've got for you guys with some angles and trends, some cash flow, some injury updates. I'm going to give you some predictions in college football, the NBA, the NHL. And we've already got one of 3 college hoops games underway. So that's what I have in store for you guys this evening. Week-wise, as far as this week goes, look for UFC 324 is back. We're back, and we're on Paramount Plus for the new programming out there. Get ready. What we're going to do is we're going to give you guys the VB MMA picks. Ramon Scott going to host VB MMA picks, world-renowned UFC capper. We'll be sharing best bets for you guys on the main, the co-main, usually picks like the featured prelim. But you should get 3 breakdowns from them fellas. Look out there. Stay tuned. Never sure when he's recording it, but I know he's working on it at some point. So get ready. And listen, then we're going to get into First Strike. We're going to change the format for First Strike. So get ready for a format, flush the format system. Then you'll see Pregaming. I won't be here on Wednesday. I don't believe I'll be here on Wednesday. In fact, I'm pretty sure I won't be here on Wednesday. You'll see me today. You'll see me tomorrow. Should see me Thursday. You should see me Friday. Why not Wednesday? Because your boy's got a root canal. And it's scheduled for 11:40 p.m. or a.m. So right before lunchtime. And I'm just not sure what my state's going to be like after that process. So I'm not expecting a show on Wednesday. But be back for you guys Thursday and Friday. We're going to get ready to launch off for you guys with that First Strike. And then, of course, UFC 324 is back on Saturday. We will get after it. Shark and I will bring you the NFL, the Betting Blitz. NFL, the Betting Blitz, the best breakdowns for the NFL. And we will feature the 2 lone championship games on Sunday. I think we'll kick off around 11 as we do on Sundays. And we'll be back to normal time and programming in the future. But with those Saturday matchups, and just kind of felt like a difficult situation to nail it down. But I know quite a few of you guys have enjoyed that. So we will be bringing that back. And new show alert. New show alert. New show alert. Brand new here at the Sports Money Network. It'll take place on Saturday. Get ready, get set. Saturday morning. We'll finish up with Ramon Scott, and then we'll jump in and give you guys a brand new show. Very excited for that opportunity. So I'm looking forward to sharing that with you guys. And did I forget anything? Did I forget something? I don't think so. I think that encompasses everything. I think that's everything we've got going on right now. I love to get these new shows going with you guys, and it's a lot of work, but I know it makes me a better capper. I know we make more money as a result of it, and I know that you guys do enjoy it as well. So I hope that you continue to ride with us here. 2026 is just getting started, but it feels like we have so many things in the works that going to make us the preeminent sporting destination to get all your best bets, all your analysis, all your information, everything in one spot shop here with the Sports Money Network. SMN. EJ Smithy, we will be on. We will do the co-hosted stream again. My guy Razor Sharp and the Razor Sharp Picks Network. And of course, the Sports Money team and the Sports Money Network will be there. We'll bring it together for one smashing and cashing evening. Hopefully smashing and cashing evening. I sucked in the divisional round of the NFL. I'll tell you that. I had the Bills. They lost. I had San Francisco. They lost. I had the Rams. I mean, they won, but they didn't cover. And then I had the Texans. So that's going to happen when you see a big run of favorites. You know, if you see a big run of favorites, I'm probably either not doing shows or not having a good time because I just assume not do shows and give you guys favorites. How about that? How about that? Nasty Nate says Pat smashed. I'll tell you who got smashed. Sean McDermott. I told you it was going to happen. I have been a keen to what's happening with these coaching changes, the coaching carousel that is the NFL. We've gone all the way back to, what's his name? Stefanski leaving Cleveland and Pete Carroll moving into Cleveland, right? Now, that hasn't been officially announced yet, so keep ready. But I do know this. Harbaugh, once he found out the Bills' job was open, he was looking at getting out of the Giants' acceptance. Maybe we see a Bill Belichick circa New York Jets press conference. Goes out there, coaches the New York Jets for about 5 seconds before he resigns to go coach the New England Patriots. So maybe we'll see a little bit of that when it comes to the coaching carousel. Maybe not. Who knows? But interesting. You know, I expected it. You know, it's funny because it's kind of like he was upset. You know, I didn't realize the rift that took place. And this is how I know Nick Sirianni's still in a good spot for Philadelphia Eagles. Bottom line is what it comes down to is a simple situation like this. You got to leave. Sometimes you got them. You change the culture. You change the mindset. You did all the things you're supposed to do to go out there and help get this team moving, but you now need to move to that next level. That next level. And that next level cannot take place sometimes with the same hands on the wheel. Think about it. I talked about it before. I talked about it last night. And if you want some facts behind it, I mean, go just look at the history of the NFL. Now, I've commented in time and again. John Gruden. Is he a champion coach? Yeah. By way of having a ring. But it was Tony Dungy that took that team out of the toilet before they had to dump him. They brought in Gruden. Gruden wins the Super Bowl. We obviously know Dungy went on to have a career at the Indianapolis Colts and do his thing out there. The Broncos. John Fox has to go. Gary Kubiak comes in. Denver Broncos win a Super Bowl. So we'll see just what happens here. But what was it? 8-9 seasons with this guy under the helm. Now, the rift that I understood to come from the internal workings is that Sean McDermott wasn't happy with some of the free agent or lack thereof activity. So he got vocal. He let the coaches know. I guess one of the undrafted free agents that he brought in and developed into a pretty solid player had to get cut so they could make some bullshit move to bring in who's the flyer? Who's the Eagle guy that didn't end up playing? Why can't I? He's got the hot wife. I guess they all probably have hot wives. Anyhow, Slay, Darius Slay, big play Slay. And then Slay ends up retiring anyway. So McDermott was pissed. He was not happy with the moves that Brandon Beane was making. And Brandon Beane's mentality is, of course, there's players available at the deadline, but too many people grew up in this league playing Madden football and fantasy football. And this ain't fantasy football. And we're not going to go sacrifice the future for current success, I guess is essentially what he said. So it was inevitable. That was the process. That was the way it was going to break down. And breakdown it did. So, hey, we wish him the best of luck. We appreciate him helping get this team out of the toilet and into the tournament. And best of luck. He'll land on his feet. I mean, ideally, he ends up coaching. What would I have him? I'd take him in Philly. I don't care what he wants to coach. You want to fucking coach the special? You want to coach the Water Boys? It's your job, dude. Go get it. So let's go. Nasty Nate says the Pat smash. Nasty Nate. That cheerleader looks like he's right up your alley, my dude. You know what I'm talking about. Shout out to Blake M. Good evening. Let's get that bag, you guys. Let's get that bag. Indeed. I see you guys there. I already did some of this. I already shouted some of you guys out. There's AJ in the house. Blake says, Vrabel coming. Wants that ring as a coach now. Shout out to AOD in the house. You guys know the deal. Let's smash that thumbs up button. Let's get through the rest of the action. And let's get on and get ready for this big Saturday night showdown. Of course, it's not Saturday night. Sometimes I speak and don't have to think, and sometimes I should think when I speak, because college football to me was pre-programmed in for Saturdays. So anyhow, you guys get ready. Like I said, it's a big week ahead. New show coming on Saturday. I'm excited to share it with you guys. Excited to bring our boy into the fold. Excited to co-stream. Excited for the future. The best Dan cappers in the business assemble up and around here, man. I network with the best. To be the best, you got to get the best around you. Here's a difference of mentality. Some people want to bring in and bring shit bombs around, right? Why? Well, if I bring guys that aren't as good as me around, then I'm going to look like a fucking superstar, right? And that's a losing mentality, because other people, myself included, subscribe to the, let me bring good people around. Let me bring the best around. Let me get with these guys, because it forces me to be better. I can't be the shitbag when I'm sitting around with these fellas. Sometimes I am, but it does. And I believe in that. I think that's a winning culture. I think that's a winning attitude. I think that's how we win long-term. Getting the best, the fucking absolute best in the business, not the scammers, not the Twitter cappers out there that are 3-1 in their last 4. We want the best. We want guys with a long-term track record. That's what you're going to get here at Sports Money. And I'm excited for the collab coming up on Saturday. So there's my teaser. Now, if I tell you guys, somebody else will steal it. Can't have that either. So we're already on Providence. Providence is getting busted up right now. It is 26-20, but it's early. I think, the thing is, when you're exploiting a defensive strategy, you got to let defense have its time to unravel, to crumble. Very rarely do you see it kind of pop off right off the gate. So we'll be okay there. Plus, we got the 2.5 in our back pocket. Let's move into Florida A&M and miss it. I'm going to tell you this. I didn't love today's college basketball card. First of all, a slew of early games. And I feel like if you're in that, if I was sitting around the casino all day, yeah, I'd be fucking banging away on these games. But I'm progressive playing, rolling shit over, trying to cap and cash it. But that's just not the case. And frankly, did I feel like I missed out? There was a sharp perspective betting play that came in. Forgot who it was on now. It was on Mount St. Mary's. So, yeah, the problem for me is it's a New York team. It's a MAC school, MAAC. So I would have had to go to the local book for that one, but it's okay. 28-23. Here we go. Here we come. Providence, 10 minutes in, halfway through the first half. Let that defense unravel. Let's talk about this Florida A&M. Mississippi Valley State. Doesn't take much to get me on a team that's playing Mississippi Valley State. Look, this might be, I can't think if there's a worse team. Is Chicago State worse? New Haven? I'm not sure. This line opened at minus 12.5. It's moved down to 11.5. That tells you something here when a team comes in on the road. Now, granted, they are 3-1 in the SWAC, but a double-digit road favorite in a mediocre conference. 69% of the bets, 55% of the cash have taken the Florida A&M position. The total has come down 3 points. 65% of the bets and 66% of the cash on there. So my initial thought was, let's take this Mississippi Valley team total under. It's at 63.5. I don't hate it. Mississippi Valley State's bad, man. It's just it. They're bad. They just lost to Bethune-Cookman 79-63. They didn't cover the team total there. They lost to Texas Southern 84-51. Didn't cover the team total there. They did lose at Prairie View 70-69 as an 18.5 point dog. A little suspect. But it seems like their team total under is definitely in good position. I cashed on, who the hell did I cash on a team total under for yesterday? And I was like, that would have just made a ton of sense. And then on the other side of things, you got Florida A&M. Now, listen, they're beating up everybody in the conference, so you got to expect that they're a favorite. Are they too big a favorite? I mean, they were dogs the last 3 games. To me, this kind of comes down to what our guy Shark talks about when he looks at the line functionality. And you can kind of see the picture within the picture. They're a 4.5 point dog. They win at Southern. They're a 1.5 point dog. They win versus Grambling. They're a 2.5 point dog on the road against Arkansas Pine Bluff. They win. They got 3 straight wins as dogs. And this other side of things, you got win one, lose one, inconsistent Mississippi Valley that's been hovering around double digits. In fact, 13.5 points, 10.5 points, 18.5 points, 12.5 points, 16.5 points. This Mississippi Valley State team's bad. And I think Florida A&M is in that position to go take advantage of these guys out there. I think this is the spot we want to be involved with here. SWAC, it's just tricky. There's not a lot of, I know SWAC teams play better on the road than they do at home. Just through the history of watching some SWAC games that I know that spot. And this total's dropping. Kind of to suggest that Florida A&M will dictate pace, will hand it to this Mississippi Valley State team. The only problem is, do you play the team total under on top of this Florida A&M? And I'm just going to stay with the minus 11.5. It's enough points. I don't need to get cute with it. I don't need to go out there and stretch, but I'm going to go into a team total with this Lamar and New Orleans game, Southland's finest. Look at these guys. Season's almost over out there. That's the Mr. Weskers in the house. EJ Smithy wants to talk natty totals. We'll talk about the natty totals for sure, my dude. Lamar and New Orleans. Last game, like I said, this card to me kind of, makes me yawn just thinking about it. Minus 1.5 have moved to plus 0.5 on the Lamar side of things here. So Lamar opened as a small road favorite. They've become a small road duck. 56% of the bets and 57% of the cash have come in on the Privateers. New Orleans here comes into this thing. And, so the probing that went on with sports being fixed was involving this New Orleans Privateers team last year. So right off the gate, I look at that and think, all right, well, if the Federales are circling around the outside of these guys, everyone's got to step up, right? They're going to sever their ties. They're going to cut their ways. And, one of the biggest things when it comes to college basketball, right? It's point shaving, missing points, missing buckets, missing key free throws out there to give the back door to the other side. That's not happening with New Orleans this year. This is one of them few teams where you look at it, it's like it's an over. They got 4 straight overs. They're 9-1 their last 10 to the over. After a loss, they're 62-25 to the over. This team ain't shaving no points this year, man. The overs, when the total's sitting at that 149, that 149 sweet spot, 149 or less, they've cashed 6 straight. They're 9-1 in the last 10. New Orleans dogs, when you make them a dog, which I know, that's how they opened. And there's still a couple plus 1.5s out there, so we'll still talk about it. 57-24 to the over. 5 straight. They pull up their weight. The question I have is, what does Lamar? What do these Cardinals do? I thought Lamar was a fine gentleman, but turns out he likes to be floating around my backside. Can't have that. So what I ended up doing in this game, I kind of teased it with that last game. I am going to jump in. I am going to take a team total here. I did take this New Orleans Privateers team total over 71.5. What up, Dylan in the house? He says, what up, Mikey? Shout you, Dylan. Mr. Wesker says, Timmy, I want to take Miami money line so bad, just out of spite. Mr. Wesker's laughing about the federales. David Delp says Hoosiers, man. This should be a fun. This is going to be a great game. You know, you think about it. You think about the situation. Miami shouldn't have gotten in. It should have been Notre Dame. Miami was leading the ACC, but they couldn't get it. Miami got booted essentially. Well, they ultimately got in, but that Duke win against Virginia. So all Miami's done is overperform against underachieving expectations. But we'll get in a minute. The Minnesota Wild and the Toronto Maple Leafs, for me, game number 1 in the NHL. Normally we start off with the NHL, but tonight, because we started off with taking a loser, my 6 p.m. college basketball games tend to be losers. I don't know what it is. Some people say it's all in your head. I don't think so. I think that some of these early focal games are mind fucks. 37-33, though, they're working their way back into this thing here. I just didn't like that college basketball card. I'm glad to be through it. But I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to take the Minnesota Wild over 5.5 against this Toronto Maple Leafs team here. Toronto maybe has turned a new leaf. Maybe. No pun intended with the Leafs. The Minnesota Wild. The Quinnesota Wild. They've been fighting themselves, well, kind of back and forth, I guess. You know, they're going to Philip Gustafsson as far as goaltending is concerned. I'll have Joseph Woll on the other side of things. Woll had his worst game of the season. 6 goals on 33 shots. So he's 11-4-3 on the year. They lost 6-5 in overtime to the Vegas Golden Knights. That was a spot that I was on Toronto. Woke up and said, how the fuck did that happen? Kind of laughed about it. And overall, not allowed 3 or more goals in 7 of his last 10. So kind of a ballsy spot to go out there on the wing. But at the same time, Minnesota Wild, you know, they're feisty. They're desperate right now. They've lost, 3 of their last 4 games. They're 1-2-1. So this is a team that's got to put it all out there on the table. And the fact that they're at Toronto in this spot, to me, that's like the capital of hockey when it comes to, well, some of you guys may argue or not, but a lot of players grew up. Toronto's such a big fucking city, right? People don't realize the size of Toronto in relation to, like, it's a cleaner New York City, bottom line, right? I mean, the numbers are probably pretty, it's what, the second largest city in North America, next to New York City. So the numbers are there. And I say that because a lot of fucking people grew up in and around the suburbs of Toronto, which means that they inherently grew up on or around the suburbs of the Toronto Maple Leafs. It's no different than everybody being a fucking Yankees fan, right? If you're from New York and you're not a Yankees fan, that's a red flag for you, sucker. Because everybody's a Yankees fan in New York. So what kind of asshole are you that says I'm not going to buy into this yet? Now, maybe we have a conversation. We can come to some mutual understanding, but still puts a red flag on you. My point is this. When these players get ready to go back to the Bronx and play the Yankees and play that high-powered, put against the pinstripes in New York City, prime time spot, that means something to those players. And the same holds true in the NHL when it comes to going into Toronto. So you got a team that's desperate. They're feisty. They're wiry. We also have a 5.5. And what did I tell you guys about the 5.5s? It was 22-4 up until the other day. I just threw my paper out. But 5.5s, 22-4 over the 26 game span going up to about 3 days ago. So at 5.5, we want to play in on this over. We got 2 motivated teams fired up, ready to go out there and strike. We got a goaltender on the Toronto side that's kind of on a down. We got a Minnesota Wild team that's got nothing to lose, and that makes them incredibly dangerous here. Let's take this game to go over 5.5. 4-2 is fine. If you can only get a 6, then we're going to need 4-3. So there you go. Dylan says he doesn't bet the Leafs. Give him the under. 4-1 last 5 to the under, and Leaf 4-1 last 5. All right. Dizzy the Nuts. You know why you're here, dude? Because we are the fastest growing sports gambling show on YouTube. I know Ramon loves to say it. I like him saying it too, because we very much are. And we continue to grow on a regular basis. And you're here. And I'm going to guess that you're the same piece of shit riffraff that's been looming around forever. And I told you to get some mental help, dude. Literally, like it's a personal plea for you on your own behalf. You know who you are. I know who you are. And I think you need to get some help, dude. I'm going to ban you and put you in timeout, but You just make it uncomfortable for everybody else. There's no need to be like that. Just get the help that you need. We don't want to see you do any harm to yourself or to others. And frankly, we don't need you here. So thanks for being here. Thanks for helping us get the added like and views. Or I'm sure you're not a like guy, but a view. But get some help, dude. Stop it. You're already, you make things miserable. And people don't want you around, dude. You should know that by now. And that's probably the story of your whole life. Right back to the situation that happened with your missus and everything else. So anyhow, let's go. Let's get into it. Let's not move down that trail. Andrew K says Knicks down 30 at half versus the injured Mavs. The Mike Brown experience. Dylan says I like the under, but not at 5.5. Jimmy Lambo says you on the over or under in the Indiana-Miami game. EJ Smithy says get him, Mikey. I just get annoyed, man. It's just, it's not even annoyed. It's like I don't even care, but it's like when you and those around you hurt themselves and don't want to be around, like that's a you problem, man. And y'all have to think about, what kind of vibes do you give off? Do you give off I want to go step in front of this fucking moving car vibe? I can't wait to get away from this fucking guy. Or do you want to give yourself the I want people to want to be around me vibe is what it comes down to, right? It's what nobody wants to be around a fucking loser guy that's feeling bad about himself all the time and can't do anything but speak hate and negativity. I mean, come on. I'd rather step in front of the moving car than have to deal with that dude. So I can understand why some of the family did it. That being said, let's move on. Says Mr. West says, you ain't doing it right if you don't got haters. I mean, some of these dudes used to go out there and talk about how great we were. And then they just, they were told they weren't welcome. And so they moved on with hate in their hearts. And that's okay. That's the way it goes. But hey, Philadelphia Flyers and the Vegas Golden Knights here. You guys know the deal. Our guys talking about it, pioneering it, piloting it, running it into the ground. And I don't disagree with this game here when it comes to this first period and looking at goals being scored. The other thing that I look at with this one, when it comes to goals being scored, Vegas heated up, man. They're on a fucking full out tear right now. They've what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 straight games. 7-2. 7-2 was that last game against Nashville. But here's the thing. That first period didn't come through the other day with that Nashville Predators team. So you either took a lump to the head at minus 145 or you took a minus a unit loss because we bet it at plus 170 for both teams to score in the first period. Now, the problem with the Flyers, sometimes they can start out notoriously slow. Thing about this Flyers team, though, think about the timing that's going into this game right now. You got a young team in Philadelphia. You got an afternoon start. It's 5 p.m. in Vegas. They'll be done by dinner time. So there's probably some big plans to go out there. We got a 6.5 on the clock right now. We got goal scorers. I'm not worried about Vegas didn't pull their end of the bargain in that Nashville game. But the opponent has been scoring in the first period for the last month and change against this Vegas team. And I think despite the slower starts for this Philadelphia Flyers team, that they're finding themselves in a desperate situation as well. They've been losing like crazy. They had back-to-back losses against Tampa. They lost at Buffalo, Pittsburgh, and the Rangers. Coming out fired up and wired and ready to play is where I see this Philadelphia team. So I've got both teams to score in the first period, especially coming off that spot where Vegas missed it the other night against Nashville. That was all Vegas that missed that one. It was a 1-0 situation. So give me both teams to score. Give me plus 165 as well. Phil the Kill says Flyers look pathetic. I love it, dude. I love it. Finally. Just fucking lose. Lose already, lose and lose and lose again. We don't want, it's funny. I go back to Brandon Bean with that press conference that he gave out there the other day. And he said, I don't want to be bad enough that we get a Jamar Chase. In other words, he doesn't want a number 1 overall draft pick. Well, you know what? If I'm fucking Philadelphia, I'll take a number 1 draft pick. The times that we had number 1 draft picks, we end up getting, jobbed in the lotto. Nolan Patrick, the guy's got a fucking torn, abdomen or, testicular inactivity. I don't know what was going on with this guy, but he was hurt. He had just had a big surgery, and yet we lose the number 1 overall draft pick to the New Jersey Devils, I believe is who it was. It was either the Devils or the Rangers. I think it was the Devils. In any event, We ended up going to Nolan Patrick. The guy played like fucking 5 games. So, and then they sent him off. I think he went off to Vegas, if I'm not mistaken. And I don't think he plays in the NHL anymore. So give us a first round overall pick if you can. Come on already. Let's go. Dylan says it's usually the other team that scores 2 in Vegas. And Vegas should score on Sam Erson in goal on the Philadelphia side of things. Just the over 1.5 is minus 130. You get a better number than I could get. Like I said, I got the 165. I guess minus 135 was the number, but it's a full dollar swing. It's a full dollar swing. Who's not going to get it? Who's not going to score that thing for us out there? Fuck, even the Flyers to win the first period sounds like a good play for me. But I'm going to take you guys the official. Both teams to score the first period. And I'm going to finish it off with this Rangers and Ducks spot. Maybe recency bias caps a little bit or plays into my cap a little bit with these squads here because we know that the Rangers suck at home. Well, they're not at home, right? And we know that the Ducks have been sucking as of late. Spencer Martin is the confirmed goaltender for the Rangers. I don't like seeing that. That kind of led me to thinking about goals. He's going to make his first NHL start. 25 to 28 saves. Actually, this is going to be his second start. He's 1-0. 1-0 with an 85% save percentage. It's ugly. 0-4 for the fucking Rangers in that 4-game losing streak. So I don't know. Is the kid the magic luck? Ducks 3-game winning streak after falling into the pits of despair through the holiday season. Started out hot. Kind of hit the wall around the holiday. It makes sense. Young kids, lots of money in their pockets, big Christmas parties, throwy, smoking hot girls that are probably high maintenance as hell. They're trying to get back on the schneid here. They're trying to get back after it here, but Dostal's been struggling. They had a 9-game losing streak, 8-1 in those spots out there. Dostal, 50 of 53 saves his last 3 games. So he's been playing, 2 games. He's been playing pretty solid. 2 or fewer goals. And so this is where I kind of look at it. If we're going to see a lower scoring potential in this game, I want the plus money potential with the team that I think's got more firepower and more opportunity for the bounce back, the zig versus the zag here. And, man, the fucking Rangers have been zigging so much. The zag is essentially due for these guys. And I think that the price, I don't spend a lot of time looking at the money line, but I think it correlates for us and what's kind of happening with this game on top of that. If you look at this number here, tons of money pulling in on this Ducks squad. Everyone's thinking Ducks fly together. Ducks figured it back out. I think that I said this before and I'll say it again. Although I like the Blackhawks tonight because they're in the dog position, the young squads, the San Jose's, the Anaheims, and the Chicago Blackhawks, right? Those predominantly young teams with players that are just coming out of college and the junior hockey leagues. They're trying to figure out how to take care and maintain their bodies in these positions. And I think that you give me a New York Rangers squad that's shit for all intent and purpose. This guys are looking to figure out if they're going to disband or not. The thing I like about this Rangers team too, that I read is they were looking at potentially making some trades. And one of the guys that I guess recently saw the light is Panarin. Found out that he will not be getting a contract to re-sign with the New York Rangers. And so now this guy is trying to put out promotional goodwill video. And what does he do as soon as he finds out he's not getting re-signed? It's like the release valve. The guy fired off 2 goals, had 5 shots. I mean, come on. The Rangers going to go out and they're going to rebuild. So now these players like Panarin will find themselves in a position where it's like, oh man, I'm going to get out of this shit show. I'm going to go out to a potential Stanley Cup potential. Let me put some good film out there so that people can see my potential. And you look at this guy here, Panarin's going to be a huge asset to be gained by the trade deadline. 54 points, 36 of them on the road. I like Panarin to fire off tonight. Why not put the goal in the net? But for me, it comes down to New York Rangers. Give me this plus money spot. This line's moved way too much in terms of current situation, current state, and then players being tired or whatever the case may be. So I like it. I think this is a good opportunity. Mr. Whiskers says the Rangers coach is baffled. Dylan says the Ducks fly together. Jonathan Quick is terrible at 3-13. I don't think it is Jonathan Quick. I see Spencer Martin is confirmed. Spencer Martin is confirmed, is what I see. I don't know if that's better or worse. 3.58 goals against average. Yikes. Mikey, I want to be upset, but your statement is true. You've given me great advice, and in my own problem, you're a class act either way. I'm not sure. I don't want to get into it. I want you to get the help you need, dude. That's all. That's all. Let's go Miami Hurricanes, Indiana Hoosiers. This is the game of the night. This should be a ton of fun. I'm going to tell you, coin flip on the side. I did end up going to a side. It's over on Winnable. But I like this under in this game here. Okay. Now I will shout out one of our faithful did share with me some news today. And I want to thank him for it because, you know, it was something that, I guess I didn't really give too much thought to, and it comes down to player being suspended for the first half on the Miami side of things here because of the targeting. Xavier Lucas will be suspended for the first half. That's the starting cornerback for the Miami Hurricanes. Targeting in the second half of the game against Ole Miss. We had some really terrific bowl games here for the college football playoffs. I mean, I think they're finally getting it right, and people are getting mad about the NIL doubt. What'd you think was going to happen? Your FCS schools were going to become, you know, JUCOs, junior colleges. Your shit FBS teams, the non-Power 5, were going to become essentially FCS schools. And then there was going to be a separation process. So the Coastal Carolinas are going to become a feeding ground for the Kentuckys and Kansases out there. They're going to let them develop and get the speed down at the college football level. This was fully expected. And anybody that didn't realize that was just being foolish or not thinking about the ramifications here. So Miami's going to be out without this Xavier Lucas in the first half. I don't like it. I think the team will try to fill in and prepare to deal with that void. I'm not happy about it. I wish it was a full strength game either way. I'll go both sides, but it's not. It is what it is. That's why we're sitting at 7.5. We haven't seen any movement. That should concern anybody looking to bet Indiana. 65% of the bets, 69% of the cash on Indiana. Not a movement. Zero zilch. Maybe you think about Indiana in the first half because of that Xavier situation, but this game's essentially in Miami, right? I mean, it is literally like 20 miles from the University of Miami's campus. It's a pretty big home edge. And I don't know for sure. I didn't really look into the logistics behind it, but a lot of money in that University of Miami. They're not afraid to show up and show. It's not to say that Indiana doesn't have money from their boosters and their fan faithful and everything else, but a lot easier to get in the car and drive down the street to go see a game and spend a couple $1,000 on a ticket than it is to fly across the country to do that. So not saying there's going to be a tremendous home field advantage, but I suspect there will be a little bit of a rooting interest on the Miami side of things. Where I was looking at this game, though, was taking the under in the total. I just kind of has that feeling to me, like as I was looking back and forth between these two teams, like offensive and defensive lines on both sides are stacked. Where we've seen Indiana ruin the fun for me is I've been fading them. Full disclosure. They ripped Bama 38-3. New Year's Day game, came ready. Defense shut everybody down. They held Ohio State to 10 points. Now, Oregon did put up a 22-pack, but those were like mercy points. Remember how Indiana opened that game up. Oregon throws a pick 6 in the very first play of the fucking game, and it's over and never got close again after that. So at what point do they become the pumpkin? I don't know. But Miami can play the same type of game. 31-27. That was an over against Ole Miss. That was back and forth in the fourth quarter. All those lead changes. Ohio State, they held them to 14 points. Texas A&M, everyone was roaring. Texas A&M is going to stomp the shit out of Miami. Texas A&M only put up 3 points, couldn't find the end zone. So defensively and in the line where I think these teams want to run. You don't want to have to force these guys to throw the ball. Granted, you got the Heisman Trophy winner on the other side of things here, throwing that ball around, but we never see Heisman Trophy winners win the big game anyway. So I got 47.5 for the total. I took the under in this game. I do see 78% of the bets and 70% of the cash on the over, expecting this thing to be a shootout. If it is, I'll be disappointed, but I'll still have my side to root for. I'm going to take the under 47.5 in this game. Let's see what you guys have to say. Mr. Wesker says, Trump going to be there? Bill the Kill says, Miami by 1 to 6 points plus 550. Nice. I like the margin call there, dude. I'm going to write that down. I might have to get in on that. Let me get in on that, Phil the Kill. Andrew Case says, Miami line outweighs Indiana defensive line. That might try to wear Indy down like they did Ohio State. And that's where the second half. I would think now another play I'm going to look at is Indiana to win the first half, Miami to win the full game. Outright, too. I'm not talking about the points. I think we'll see what happens. I'm a little biased. Also, for what it's worth, I incidentally ended up watching a show about the West being developed, and they talked about the Miami tribe. all morning long, I was hearing about the Miami tribe. So maybe it's brainwashed me a little bit there. But when they were battling for the Great Lakes regions, it was the great Native American chief, Miami chief, that pulled them all together to create the biggest army, bigger than what the U.S. had at the time. All them regions were able to fight off the white man by banding together. And Miami, their nation of national Americans, Native Americans, were the leaders of the pack. So keep that in for what it's worth. I don't know if that was a sign. I don't know. It's kind of like half paying attention. I was like, oh, are they trying to tell me something? There's no reason this show should even be on. Phoenix Suns and the Brooklyn Nets are a spot that I put out there on the Instagram play of the day. If you want to hear the full breakdown, you can certainly go check it out. It comes down to this. The Suns beat the shit out of bad teams. They cover the spread in 15 straight times when they play a team that's sub 500. Off a road win of 5 or more, they just busted up the Knicks. 49-29 they are in those spots out there. And the Nets, when they're in a no-rest situation, they're 0-7. 0-7 in a no-rest spot for the Nets. Meanwhile, when the Suns get an opponent that's on the second leg of a back-to-back with no rest, they're a perfect 4-0. So I did jump in on this Phoenix Suns side. And then the last game I got for you guys, nose itches. Dylan says Phoenix all day long. Mr. Wesker says, how did the story end for the natives, though? That particular story ended before the War of 1812, where the British decided to get out of line again, and we had to slap them around. And that particular story ended with one of the British leaders, one of the forts, Fort Sumter, I think it was? No, Fort Henry, maybe? I don't remember the fort. Anyhow, they wouldn't let the Native Americans in to retool and rehydrate because they said you got too much paint on your face, meaning they were ready for war. They were looking to fight. And the British knew that if they were going to continue to fight, that the British were going to get smoked. So they said, no more fighting. You can't come here. And then that led to one of the largest peace treaty signings in the nation's history. Only to be followed up with the Louisiana Purchase because Napoleon ran out of money to fuel his battle out there. So quite an interesting situation our history has as it weaves out here. Speaking of history, Mr. Wesker says, what do you think Miami's offense can make a stand? They've been out offensed in net yards past few games. Only takes one. I mean, here's the problem I got, Mr. Weskers. It's been public everything for the last 2 weeks. Dale says, I got my history lesson in for today. I'd narrate the hell out of some history for you guys. Yeah, listen, it's all true. It's all factual. I may be off a little bit with a date or two, but I know it was before the War of 1812. And I know that when I go to the casino, when I go to the Niagara Falls Casino and I drive up the Parkway, I see the little monuments, the little placards that say the War of 1812 was fought here. And I'm thinking to myself, man, That's pretty fucking cool. That's pretty cool, man, when history's in your backyard. Anyways, guys, last but not least, speaking of pretty cool in history, I think the Boston Celtics are history, and I think that's pretty cool. Fuck these Celtics, man. The soft-ass sons of guns out there. Listen, they've been fortunate. They've found some spots here. They went from 4.5 to 3.5 down to 2. Everybody loves them. 65% of the bet, 71% of the cash. You're playing the Pistons, dude. Pistons versus Spurs in the NBA championship. So figure out whatever derivative has to happen for this to be the case. Okay. Pistons are 4-1 in their last 5. Pistons go out there and they're just looking to fuck. They don't care who it is. On the other side of things here, the Celtics, look, they did cover. I mean, they won outright against Miami. That was a weird game with the 2.5. Kind of feels a little bit like this spot where the books aren't sure who's going to win this game. And look, the Celtics did come out on top of that one. This will be their 4th straight road game. Not buying into that situation. Also, I think that when you look at, not that recent performance has anything to do with it, but just in terms of, nationally primetime situation, the boys should show up. Both teams on a winning streak right now. Boston's won 7 of 10. Detroit's won 6 of 10. And yet here you go with this Pistons team coming in as a favorite. I like Cade Cunningham. I like his points to go out there. I think this is a show up and show out game for Cade Cunningham. I think he's the guy that goes and kind of leads the squad. Jalen Duren, how are you going to score on this guy? And he's been sitting, so he's been resting to get himself healthy and ready to go. This is the game that they have circled to go out there and fight. And if you just want to take the money line, so be it. But I think these guys win by 5 or 6 points here. Home court advantage as well, with a tired Boston team being on the road. Just give me the squad. Give me the Pistons to close it off. Nasty Nate. Pistons going to smash. Dylan says, you think 76ers cover -7? No. No, I don't. Mr. Weskers wants to take Miami ATS. The problem is the dogs, when they come into Philadelphia, have been barking. And I saw Paul George is out tonight. So AOD says, we're looking to Detroit. Dylan says, me neither. LOL. That's the deal, you guys. That's the show. We got 5 minutes to get ourselves refreshed, recharged, regroup, to get back into the best damn dual stream in football as we get after the last college football game of the season. I'll see you guys over there in just a few minutes. Thank you guys for tuning in. Smash the thumbs up if you haven't done so already. And we can talk more about sports all night long together as we get ready for this big college football game. Good luck to you guys. Have a great night. Thanks for being